501c3 American nonprofit organizations support for Israel mainly in two ways. So the first way being in terms of support for Israeli settlements. And, I can get into what that support looks like, as well as also funding travel for American political figures and elected officials. So some of these 501c3 organizations that operate as charities essentially fund these trips for American politicians, but these organizations run volunteer trips going to, either different parts, either in Israel proper or in the case that I focused on within the settlements. And the volunteers, generally pay a set price to participate in that trip. And, those can range from 1 week to a few weeks to months. So, they frame it as, a religious, trip. And obviously they're not, discussing the implications that it's having on, Palestinian communities and, the victims of settler violence within the region. There are some, Jewish organizations as well that, look to either fund educational initiatives or other institutions within settlements. So I think the religious affiliations, it shapes kind of where their efforts go to or where their funding goes to. But overall, I think it's, more of on a broader scale, it's part of this, trend of normalizing the settlement activity and the settlement enterprise and, the violence that comes out of that as a byproduct. Yeah, so I think these like trips, for example, I think they're just a small component of the larger trend of just a lot of, pro-Israel aligned, money that's poured into American politics, widely viewed illegal settlement, that they're under attack and that these materials, so I think the supplies were Kevlar vests, helmets, binoculars. So, we're not talking about explicit weaponry, but certainly, what could be viewed as defense or security materials. We're being consistent about how international law is viewing those settlements, then I think, it should be a no-brainer that these organizations shouldn't be allowed to operate while enjoying tax-exempt status.